Now, some people create their lives on YouTube, their careers, by telling you the story of their life and, vlogging and all that sort of thing. With me today is Zachary Michael, who has made a career of basically commenting on other people's lives and giving it the charm and personality and the insights that make people want to keep coming back. And I am hooked, having found you by accident, Zach.
I think I found you, and then you found me by accident.
Pretty much simultaneously, yeah. So today, I have with me, as I said, Zachary Michael, who's got an amazing presence on Twitch and YouTube, and seems to spend all his time talking about the odd things that people just do with their lives and then put on YouTube. And I'm totally fascinated by how and why he does that and how he got to here. Now, for anybody who doesn't know me, I am a random Brit. And I'm just very, very nosy. I'm quite fascinated by how other people do YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel myself, a big main one that I earn my income from. And then this one where I just enjoy being nosy. So, Zach, welcome very, very much to you. Thank you so much for coming on my channel and having a chat with me. It's really good to meet you at last.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. This is I'm so excited about this. Right. Now, first of all, Zach, if we can talk you can talk us through how you actually got to where you are now. I mean, what did you plan to be when you were like a little Zach, when you were growing up? Did you ever have a plan?
You want me to go like way back?
Oh, yeah, I want to know how you come on. Look, you're a lot younger than me. The story can't possibly be as long as mine. So what was the original plan with your life?
I've had many twists and turns before getting here to YouTube. When I was very young, I think like I always had an interest in entertaining and being creative and doing things that I don't know. Like I did as a kid like to be the center of attention, the center of entertainment.
Always been a diva then.
My grandma on my mom's side used to always say that I was like gonna be a star someday, and I was like, I don't know about that because I don't know that I'm actually talented enough at anything that will lead to that. But I was involved in like band and choir. I did like theater in high school, but it was all mostly for fun because I again, like, I'm not actually that good at singing. I was only ever like mediocre in band. Like I wasn't ever like the best clarinet player, the best percussionist, none of those things. So I think there was some part of me that wanted to go and do entertainment stuff. I actually, when I got done with high school, briefly attended a school to become a pharmacist because I was really good at math and science. And I was always just like, if I'm going to go spend tons and tons of money in the US education system on college, then I better come out with like a job that's going to be able to pay that off. But I had a really miserable time. And so then I reverted back to one of the other things that I had always kind of wanted to do, which was going into education. My parents were like blue collar factory workers for a good chunk of my life. So the other adults that I looked up to that had jobs were like the teachers that I spent every day with at school. And so I kind of always just aspired to do that. So my overall goal was to get out of my small town. Because being gay in small town, like rural America, not ideal. And so I went to college, got 2 different degrees in education, and I don't know, now I make goofy videos on the internet for a living. There's like a lot more steps in there, I'm sure, that we could get into, but I realize I'm rambling.
You know, when I was a youngster, I thought about being a teacher as well, and then I realised I didn't like kids very much. Bit of a hindrance, but yeah. So what made you suddenly decide to actually hit social media with your presence? Where was that leap?
Sure. Well, so my second degree, my master's degree, is in higher education and student affairs, and so that's like all the stuff that happens on American college campuses outside of the classroom.
Right.
So my colleagues in that field do everything from like residence life to like living on campus to student activities, Greek life, like all this for wow, I just really jumbled up those words. Fraternities and sororities,
Yeah.
um, all kinds of stuff like that. And when I started doing YouTube, I was running a dorm on a college
Oh,
campus.
right.
And part of my responsibilities of that job was serving in an on-call rotation where I responded to like emergencies on campus if something came up. And
Mm.
so I was only allowed to be like 10 to 15 minutes away from campus, which if you live in Chicago doesn't get you super far. And so I was a bit limited on what I could do, and so I was looking for a hobby. I had some colleagues at the time that were like, Zach, you're well, and I don't know, this is subjective. So if you don't agree, then that's on you. But they were like, you're so funny. You really should be like doing something on YouTube or on reality TV or something. And so I just started making videos then. I didn't immediately like quit my daytime job. It took me like a year or so anyways before I even started being able to monetize anything on YouTube. But
Mm.
that's why I started doing YouTube. It's just like a creative outlet that was something I could do from my apartment on campus, where I didn't have to leave.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So, at what point did you latch onto your, should we call it your niche? This sort of crazy ladies doing crafts or uh, what do they call them, unboxings and haul videos and things like that. That seems to
Yeah.
be and at the I don't know. It's just girl world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why did you pick that?
Um, well, when I started making YouTube videos, I tried a little bit of everything. Like if you go back on my main YouTube channel and I've deleted very few videos over over time. So anything that I've ever posted is pretty much there with a few exceptions. And if you go back to like my oldest videos, you'll see me talking about reality TV and doing some of my own like grocery hauls. And when I first got started doing YouTube, I was at that time eating the following the keto diet.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
I I was trying to lose weight. I was trying to get healthy. And so I like dabbled in like trying to make some content like that, but a lot of those things all also aligned with, like, what I was getting recommended on YouTube, and I mean, much like you say that, like, the purpose of your channel over here is because you're nosy about, like, what
Mhm.
people do on YouTube and things like that. Once I realized people got paid to post on YouTube, I got really fascinated by, like, what are people, like, getting paid to do on YouTube? Like, this is kinda crazy, and so I just started clicking on, like, all the random different things I was being recommended because I was just fascinated that people could be making money. And so Amber Lynn came to me. She's kind of like who I really built a lot of
Mm.
a YouTube career around talking about. But she came to me because at that time I had some things on my YouTube recommended that were about like weight loss. I also had started stumbling into watching mukbang videos, and, I also had started getting recommendations for a guy called Peter Mon who did, like, drama and commentary, but a lot of his stuff was specifically about, like, beauty gurus like James Charles, Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, but he occasionally also did videos about people like Amber Lynn, and the Slayton sisters who now have gone on to have a show on TLC called The Thousand Pound Sisters,
Oh
and
yeah.
so all of those things led to, I think, Amber Lynn popping up in my feed, and she's like the peak of my, wow, you can really make money doing anything on YouTube because when I started watching her, she was doing like vlogs that were so mundane that I was like, I can't believe people are watching this. But then she would occasionally post mukbangs, which, like, if people watching don't know what that is, it's like an eating show. So you just sit down and you eat usually a very large amount of food at a time. And it started in Korea specifically as a way for single people in Korea to not have to eat dinner alone. But then, like, Americans, I think,
Oh,
specifically took it and, like, bastardized it and, like,
I
made it.
wonder what that was for. That makes more sense now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so Amber Lynn fell into that, and I actually, when I first started watching her, enjoyed her content. I enjoyed watching her trying to lose weight. She's also a queer person. She's a lesbian, and so, there were not a ton of people I was following on the internet trying to lose weight that also I had that in common with.
Mm.
But then I slowly started to learn more and more about her, and she is just like a complicated, fascinating human. I think in more recent history, we've come to learn that she's just, like, extremely problematic in many different kinds of ways. But at the time, it was like, when I first started watching her, it's very innocently like, "Oh, this girly is out here posting this content and making a living off of it." Like, it was by the time I started watching her, it was all she was doing for a job.
Wow. This is amazing what can make good content. I think real people are just fascinating, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you've now got a whole army of people that you seem to follow. Let's say it's not a huge amount. How many are you actually following? Probably, I don't know, a dozen people maybe?
Oh, like that I
Your fan base.
regularly make
Yeah,
con
your regulars. You really have followed them and stuck with them, haven't you? So how many are
Yeah.
there now that are like that?
Well, the main channel, it tends to be, I mean, at this point, it tends to be about the same 3-ish people, Amberlynn
Mm.
being one of them. Around the time that I started making the commentary about Amberlynn, another woman named Chantal, or as she's more popularly known on YouTube as Foodie Beauty, started popping up, and I started covering her. And then in more recent history, in like the past like couple of years, I've started covering a woman named Rosie on my main channel. Um, I occasionally on the main channel pick up like other other folks here and there.
Yeah.
I can't necessarily tell you how I decide like what rises to the occasion for me to talk about it on my main channel versus what ends up happening on Twitch
Mm.
and this thus getting re-uploaded to my second channel. But I will say Twitch and what I do over there has always been intended to be like more experimental for me. I'm sure you probably know this, but like the YouTube algorithm is so finicky and sometimes it just like really hates when you try something new. And so I started the Twitch part of my career shortly after like the lockdown from the pandemic. And I originally did play like video games and stuff over there, but then I realized it would be a really good place to try out just like reacting
Mm.
to other random things. And so I started by introducing the Dollar Tree people that that
They
I
are
that
so
I
entertaining. They're great, aren't they?
yeah. Well, Dollar Tree, that was like just another thing that I found to be so fascinating because I was like, wow, people are really tuning. I would never think like, let me just click on a video to see what this person bought from the Dollar Tree. Like for me personally, like I've now learned why people care about that so much, but whenever it first got recommended to me, I'm like, who would care? And
Yeah.
now I just like love watching it. I love having those kind of videos in the background. People just blabbing about the Dollar Tree stuff that they got is like the perfect white noise for me.
I remember nearly falling off my chair and spitting my coffee everywhere on one of yours. Was it Lisa? I think it was Lisa Hall's, the
Probably.
KY jelly incident. Was that Lisa? And she was actually in your chat. I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Oh," and I think it's her husband, isn't it? They were just so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and I thought, yeah, I get this. I get why people what. So because on that channel, on the Twitch stuff then ends up on Zachary Michael also, which I need you
Mhm.
to say for me. Go on, you
Oh,
do your thing. Go on.
oh, Zachary Michael also, like
Perfect.
that?
Like that. You've got a lot more people that you talk about on there, and I have to say that the dramas in other crafting communities have made me feel so much better. It's
Uh-huh.
not just the resin craft community. I don't know what's the matter with us all. I really don't. But so how do you actually find your content? Is it all just people who pop up in your feed, or do people send you messages and say, "Oh, you should look at this"?
It's
Um,
it's a little bit of both of those things.
mm,
I wish I could tell you the first time that some random crafting drama popped up in my feed. I can't recall that at this moment, but that really did start from I just like randomly got somebody suggested in one of those communities in my For You page, and so I clicked
mm,
on it, I started watching it, and then I was like, let's not finish this. Like, I'm gonna bring this to Twitch, and we're gonna watch this together. And then I will say, like, after that, I started getting a lot of people being like, "Oh, well, if you like the drama in that community, let me tell you about the drama in the crochet community. Let me tell you about the
uh,
drama in the such and such community." So it's a mixture of all of that. Like people do send me stuff. Um, one of my one of my moderators, well, a couple of my moderators actually will like go through and look for stuff and pass it along to me. So it's really just like uh, a mixture of all of the fates coming together. And so I'm always open if people want to send stuff. It's never I can never guarantee that I'm gonna like cover everything. And
no.
sometimes I start watching something and I'm like, I could see why somebody might find this interesting, but to me it's not. So I don't know. There's no perfect formula. But I will say some of the best moments I've had on Twitch have been when I just like happen into some nonsense, to be to be honest. That's my favorite thing is, like, I just click on something not expecting it to be anything. That's happened with, like, there's a woman named Lori Beth that was just randomly suggested to me, who
Mm,
I've covered a lot more in recent history. That happened to me with the Sarasota Tim guy, who I haven't covered as much recently, but
no.
I just randomly clicked on a video of his or about him maybe, and it just led to, like, a whole rabbit hole.
Fantastic. So do you, what actually is your process? Because sometimes I get the impression you haven't watched the video before. You maybe have just watched the start, so you're seeing it quite raw. And then other times I get the impression you maybe may have seen it before. Do you watch it through first? What do you
Uh,
do?
I try not to. I try to avoid watching stuff because I think I'm at my best when I just haven't seen something and I can just give my raw, genuine reaction. Um, It usually happens more often with, like, the girl world stuff where, like, I because of the internet, because I'm present in, like, my Discord or I'm on Twitter, sometimes things just simply get spoiled for me. So I try my best. It's kind of why I, like, literally pay one of my moderators now to, like, go in and clip down, some really long live streams from some of the people I cover so that I can do my best to, like, give a reaction to like the most interesting parts of those things.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Yeah.
but usually, if I've seen something, I try to say like, "Hey, I've already seen this. I already know this thing is going to happen."
Yeah.
Uh, because I don't know, it's really silly, but sometimes people are like you watched this before, Zach. This is so fake," and I'm like, I always try to be as transparent and honest as when I have. So
Yeah. That's probably why I've got that impression. But yeah. So processes, you literally just go straight in and see it raw. But what's amazed me is how many you've got a total horde of people that watch you live and join in. And
Uh-huh.
I'm amazed by how many actually become part of the show. You really integrate them. How did this idea of really working with your audience like that come about?
Um, honestly, I think it happened somewhat organically for
Mm.
the Twitch stream
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah, that's what I was
Um,
thinking. Mhm.
I used to live stream on YouTube, a lot more often than I almost never live stream on YouTube now, and
Mm.
the main difference is that YouTube live streams, I would get, like, 2 to 3,000 people watching me at once, and so there's just not really a lot of opportunity to, like, have a personal connection with that many
No,
people.
that'd be crazy.
But when I stream on Twitch, like,
Mm.
it's a much smaller audience, and I don't know, I am very specific about saying, like, "Not my friends, not my family." Like,
Makes me smile.
I
Yeah.
really stick by that just 'cause I think sometimes, like, I don't it's not that I don't like the people that watch me or that I'm not grateful or appreciative of the people that watch me, especially on Twitch where it's like, I do recognize a lot of people who
Mm.
are there on a regular basis and come in and chat and have conversations. But, like, I've just had some people have weird expectations about relationships and things like that with me.
Yeah. Even
So
I find that at my small scale, and it's
yeah, so it's an interesting
managing.
balance because it is
Yeah.
helpful to have a community that's engaged with, like, my content and wants to participate by, suggesting things and sharing ideas with me, and also being like, "I'm keeping you at an arm's length because this is, like, my job that I show up to do every day." And, yeah, so it wasn't necessarily something I sought out, but I think it's just something that's happened organically, on Twitch specifically. I used to when I worked in a residence hall, I one of the big things that was a part of my job was, like, building community and, like, bringing people together that lived in this building together, and I do think there's some aspects of how I approach, my presence online that I think naturally builds some of that community, and some of that
Mm.
is things like setting boundaries and expectations and showing up on a regular basis. There's so many people that, like, expect to tune in at 4 PM Chicago time
Mhm.
on a daily basis, Monday through Thursday, and
Yeah.
so, um, I think some people don't realize, like, that's a huge part of, like, building a community and an audience of people that wanna tune in is sometimes just simply showing up and being consistent.
Yeah. It's just a for me, it's just a shame that it's a bit late at night for me, so I get to watch the start, then I think I'm gonna have to catch this on the replay on YouTube.
Yeah.
But, time zones are a pain, aren't they? But, yeah. So, I know that I am not the only one that has been somewhere in your coverage that then turns up in your chat, because I know I've seen Lisa in your chat as
Uh-huh.
well. How how did you feel when that suddenly happened for the first time? I think Lisa's been in your chat for a hell of a lot longer than me, hasn't she?
Yeah, Lisa's been around for a long time. It's interesting because everybody kind of has their own like, everybody that I've ever covered that is aware of me, can have, like, one of 2 reactions. They can, like, either embrace it or they can be really upset about it, and so, like, you're seeing that right now the upset about it part right now with, like, the woman that I covered one time about the coloring book
Yes.
drama and community, which was like, I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like my commentary about her it was rather, like, light-hearted in comparison to maybe some other people I talk about, and so sometimes that takes me by surprise, and
Yeah.
it's I think when people, just are able to embrace, like, the silliness of it, that I appreciate the most. Like, Lisa has never taken herself so seriously that
No.
anything I've said has, like, hurt or offended her in a stream, and I'm somebody who doesn't take myself entirely seriously, so I think I can really appreciate when other folks don't. I think there's even though some boundaries with that that I try to, like,
Mm,
manage. I think more so for people on my main channel. Um, Amber Lynn in particular is somebody that has, like, gone back and forth and, like, trying to reach out to me and DM with me and try to give me her side of the story on things, and, um, I eventually just had to, like, cut off communication with her because it was
yeah,
leading people to feel like she was manipulating me or, like, influencing how I felt about things, and, similarly, that the whole reason that I do cover, Rosie on my main channel is because she got weirdly parasocial with me and, like, thought we were besties or something when I was just simply, like, responding to DMs and things like that. So, it is
yeah,
a balance, like, in a lot of ways, I'd almost sometimes prefer people to just let me stay on my on my side of the internet doing my own thing, but as long as people are good sports about it and, aren't trying to, like, come over and sway my opinion or things like that, everybody's welcome to, like, especially come and publicly participate in chat. Like, outside of you asking me some, like, questions about trying to fix your YouTube channel or, like, asking me to do this, it's not like you and I have, like, had long, in-depth conversations,
yeah.
and
Not my
that's
friend, not my family.
exactly. I mean, these are all reasons why I say not my friend, not my family, 'cause, like,
Yeah.
I've just learned over time that people think that we're like friends and family, and I'm like, "Well, I'm your YouTube colleague at best."
Yeah, we've got to be realistic about these things, haven't we? So, are you okay to tell us what's been going on with the politics at the moment? Because you've got this whole copyright thing going on. First of
Oh,
all, can we just explain for our viewers in case they don't know um, what fair use is and why it's okay for you to use other people's videos and comment on them in the
sure.
eyes of YouTube and all the formalities? And then if
What
we can perhaps talk through what is actually happening at the moment.
Sure, yeah. Well, so fair use is, actually not specifically YouTube thing. It's in the context of the United States, it's a law here in the US in terms of using other people's content, perhaps without their permission, and like what's allowed and what isn't. Fair use ultimately, there's some like guidelines on like what qualifies as fair use by maybe some like court cases that have already happened in the US that kind of have stood as a way to or as like a baseline or a guideline,
Like a
for how to
precedent. Mm,
yeah, a precedent, that's a great word. But certainly it's not cut and dry and, it's like a case by case scenario. So, generally though, fair use is considered, or content is considered fair use if you are being transformative of the content. So specifically, you're not just like reposting somebody's content with no additional changes, additions in terms of like commentary, things like that. So if you see somebody that's just like blatantly reposting somebody's video without doing anything to change it, that wouldn't qualify as fair use. In terms of YouTube, why this fair use comes up so often is because for a very long time, um, reaction content, commentary, etc., has been a part of YouTube. It's been like while I cover very niche things, like there are so many other YouTubers that do commentary, reactions, etc., where this has come up. And so for
mm,
me, fair use and what I try to consider fair use in terms of like having conversations about copyright all comes down to I provide transformative content. I always like use that word because that's specifically a word that like the US law talks about. But I provide, I think, transformative content because I am here adding additional commentary, thoughts, opinions, reactions visually that that really changes the original content in a way that it's not just a substitute for the original content, but it is something that is new and different from what the original creator intended.
Right. So, all that in mind, thanks for that because that's clarified a few things for me as well.
Huh.
Um, so, leading on from that, yeah, you've had copyright claims in the past, which you've just dealt with.
Mhm.
But I understand you're going through a copyright strike, which is when it gets serious at
Well,
the moment. Would you be happy to fill us in on exactly what's going on with that?
sure, and it also might help to clarify the difference between a claim and a strike.
Yes,
That is specifically, that's not related to US law, that's specifically
YouTube thing, isn't it?
language around YouTube and how YouTube handles it.
Hmm.
I've actually historically experienced both to different extents. None of the recent stuff on my channels is the first time I've experienced either
All
type.
right.
So a claim is, I think, maybe these days uh, the more common example of the copyright system on YouTube, and so that is just like if a creator claims another person's YouTube video for using their content, um, then they will typically either claim all of the monetization of that, or they will like YouTube can set up like a split of the revenue. The split of the revenue happens, I think, most often when it's like a music company claiming like music or something from
Yeah.
their thing because they're like, well, sure, you can use it for your video, but we just want a portion of what you're making from that video. I find that the like I'm going to claim your whole monetization comes more often from like other YouTubers or I used to cover a TLC show and TLC would try to claim the monetization when I included clips and things like that. Uh, all of those you can go through the YouTube process of appealing and disputing if you really want to, if you think that your content is fair use. But
Mm,
it doesn't do what a strike does. And the difference is that a copyright strike impacts um, the stability, I guess, of your channel. If you get
mhm.
3 strikes, your channel can get terminated. So YouTube views it as like a violation of terms of service. A
Right.
strike also gets your content taken down. It gets your video or videos in question removed from the platform. So in the most recent history, I was referring to the woman from the coloring book community who was upset about my video, and she copyright struck my channel and I had like 7 I had to wait 7 days for YouTube to automatically just take down my video. I had the option to just take it down myself, and then I would have not gotten a strike at all. Um, those 7 days lapsed last Friday, and I was on vacation, so I didn't do anything.
Yeah, you've been away, haven't you? Yeah.
I didn't actively do anything with it at the time, but, my video did get taken down, and then I had the chance to appeal that strike. So, yesterday I got back from my trip yesterday, and I, sat down at my computer, and then you file an appeal. Part of what is difficult about the copyright system is that a lot of people abuse it because once you get to this part of it, in order to appeal the strike, um, I have to basically say, like, I'm prepared to enter a legal dispute because at that point, YouTube
Mm,
says, "We're not we're not doing anything with this. You have to go through the US legal system to, uh, to resolve this." And so in order to do that, I have to be willing to give, all of my personal information. So, like, my actual government, name, which, believe it or not, is not Zachary Michael. My my, like, legal address, my phone number, because what the other person now has to do, the person who made the strike, they have to now show proof to YouTube that they're planning to legally pursue this. Johanna, the person who issued the strike, now has to start a legal process if she wants to follow through with it, where she's essentially taking me to court for infringing on her
That's
copyright.
horrendous. And
Yeah.
presumably that's, I would imagine most people are going to chicken out at that point.
Yeah,
And
there's
because I can't imagine many people would actually go through it. And also, surely a court is going to look at your video and say, well, it's the same as he always does, and it's always been okay. So what's your problem?
yeah.
So I would think she's on a very weak footing anyway.
I mean, I can't speak from like, I've never actually made it into a courtroom because of one of these things.
No.
Usually the other person that has to, like, file the lawsuit
Mm.
usually does not end up doing it because that's a lot of
Yeah.
work for just, like, getting a video taken down. Um, but the other side of that is that sometimes people use that to intimidate people. Uh,
Mm.
so in Girl World, the first time I ever got a copyright strike was from, Foodie Beauty, who I mentioned previously, and she did that often to creators, and a lot of creators were afraid to appeal it because, again, you have to give a lot of personal identifying information about you. So, um, I appealed it back then, and I don't live in that, like, address anymore, but at the time, I was like, "I have to agree to give this, like, crazy woman on the internet my address." She didn't end up, like, pursuing anything legally, but then it was like, "Oh, she has my address now, so if she wanted to use that for any kind of nefarious purpose, she could." So there's a lot of, like, abuse of the copyright system in that way on YouTube. There was another woman that I used to cover on Twitch in the Reupload channel named, well, her YouTube channel is Chickens by the Lake. Her actual name is Michelle, and she fully said in a video that the reason she sent the copyright strike to me was not because she wanted my video taken down, but because she wanted my information, so that she could use it if she needed to. So there's just like, I don't know, I've been doing this for so long, and there's so many pieces of feedback I have for YouTube if they ever wanted to talk to me about my thoughts about the copyright system.
That
Uh,
needs sorting. That's terrible.
yeah,
I mean, they should at least be saying, we have the information, should it be needed in a court,
yeah,
but not release it to anybody. I'm sure over here in the UK, that would fall under our data protection laws or something.
yeah. No
That's,
idea, no idea.
that's awful. I didn't realise that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Did she
Quite
ever
annoying.
use that information?
No, no, surprisingly, she didn't. I mean, to be honest, I don't think that would have worked out really well for her. I think,
No, probably
she would
not.
have gotten a lot of pushback. And that's what I mostly rely on is that, like, these people who want to have, like, a YouTube career are probably not gonna risk that because I mean, that's doxing people like that is generally, I think, frowned upon
Mm,
by most people, and it's kind of hard to come
yeah,
back from that, I think, if you opt to do that. So, I don't know, I've taken some risks
you
putting
have.
my putting my putting my info into those things, and, like, for this one, I really don't think this woman is gonna do anything nefarious with, like, my information. I genuinely think she seems like a nice lady, like, I'm honestly surprised by the reaction that she had to, my video and stuff like that. So I don't
Mm,
imagine she's gonna do anything,
mm.
nefarious.
She probably doesn't realise the implications of what she's entered into.
Yeah,
It's yeah, because it is pretty extreme, isn't it? And I don't know if a lot of people would realise that that's what they were entering into
right.
and potentially putting themselves up for. So hopefully it'll just be that. I don't know how you just went on holiday. You must be such an old hand at this. You just went on holiday and didn't worry about it. I'd have been absolutely freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, when I say I've, like, been down this road many times. I have. So
Yeah, you
I
know
just
the
was like, I'm not
routine.
gonna stress out about this. I actually, on my main YouTube channel, was also going through something simultaneously with a channel called The Doherty Dozen. She's like a large family vlogging mom. She has like 12 kids, i.e. the dozen. But she's like a really controversial person on the internet. And I made a video about her like a year or 2 ago on my main channel,
Hmm.
and I just recently, like about a month ago, got a copyright claim, and so I disputed that because I'm like, "I'm not gonna give you money for my video that was, like, fair use," and that
Yeah.
also actually just resolved itself, like, this past weekend.
Oh,
So
that's good. I mean, it's like you were saying earlier on. If people just don't need to not take themselves so seriously. I mean, I pray that one day you'll comment on one of my videos because I know I'm ridiculous.
you say that, and then sometimes there's been people who've been like, "Oh, I hope," specifically Erin, who I talk about, like,
Yes.
for Temu hauls, she
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
comment on my videos saying like, "Oh my gosh, I hope one day you'll talk about me, you'll watch one of my videos," and n now that I do, she's like, not a big fan."
Oh, that's a shame. I wouldn't be surprised if you're driving in more traffic, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that is a pity. No, I think from my perspective, part of what I like about watching you commenting on other people, and that's probably why all these copyright issues don't end up turning nasty on you, is because you're doing it with a great intent. I think there's a little bit of a kindness about an understanding about the way you comment on people.
I
Do
mean,
you feel that? I don't know.
I certainly try. I think, like, I've always said that
Mm,
I would stop doing this if I felt like it, like, interfered with my own personal morals, beliefs,
mm,
how I conduct myself in real life, and I think I've been able to maintain that for the
yeah.
most part. I struggle to say, like, "Oh, I'm super kind," and this, that, the other, because 1, I think that like, sets an expectation that, like, I'm just this person who is nice and kind all the time, and the reality is I'm human. I know I've, like, occasionally hurt people even in my own personal life unintentionally.
We all
So
do.
I don't think, like, I'm perfect by any means, but certainly in my corner of the internet, I feel like it comes up frequently where people are like, "Oh, Zach stands on a moral high ground and thinks that they're so much better," but at the end of the day, they're just, like, still sitting on the internet talking shit, so are they really that good of a person? Blah, 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 blah. And so, I don't necessarily try to, claim, like, a title of being the nicest person ever, but I do try to keep things in line with, you know, how I'd wanna be treated, how I would treat people in real life. Um, and so, I mean, I appreciate you saying that about me.
Yeah.
I just hope that I can maintain that.
You never come out over as being just mean to people.
Yeah,
You're commenting, and it's a natural, genuine reaction, and you seem to do have a little bit of understanding of where they're coming from as well. I don't know. There seems to be a bit of heart in it to me.
yeah. Well, I will say also a lot of what I've realized, like, my joy and, like, sitting around and just talking about, the daily lives of people on the internet and what they choose to
Mm,
share is that a lot of this comes from, like, me sitting at kitchen tables with, like, my mom, my aunts, my grandmas, and, when you're in the middle of nowhere and you live in a small town of 2,800 people, the topic of conversation is what's going on in town, what's going on with your family, your extended family, what's the latest gossip, and I have, like, so many fond memories of just, like,
mhm.
sitting at my grandma's kitchen table, listening to my mom and my aunts and my grandma, you know, just talk about all the gossip in the town, and I just sat there drinking a diet soda and listening. Um, and I think a lot of what I do on the internet today is, like,
Mm.
inspired by that, and it's where I also,
Um,
like, have established a quick wit and a quick reaction and response, and so, I don't know, I'm just always inspired by the women in my life, in particular, my mom and my aunts and my grandmas,
hmm,
a lot of this, like, nosiness and gossipy behavior is from that. I also would, like, challenge a lot of people because I think everybody, enjoys, like, a little bit of gossip
yeah,
and
definitely.
tea spilling and things like that, and so, I think that's why it's, like, possible for some people to engage in it in, like, a kind way, in a, like, fun, silly way, and there's certainly people who are engaging in it in, like, a nasty, malicious way, and that's usually when people don't like
Yeah,
participating in gossip and things like that.
yeah, I couldn't do that. I could not put out anything nasty about anybody. It's just not right, is it? It's
Yeah.
no, it was great with me. I totally get that. And yeah, but we gossip. Yeah, gotta love gossip.
Yeah.
So so that's where we've talked about how you got here. We talked about that's where you are now and the sort of things that you're covering and the little dramas that you're having going on in the background as well. Where do you go from here? Where do you see your whole social media career going?
God, I honestly I honestly have no idea. I always would struggle when I was working a more traditional job, if I was, like, doing job interviews and stuff, if people would be like, "Oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Because so much of my life up to this point has just been unexpected, like, trying things, finding out they don't work, and then reassessing. I had a really rough 2025 because of a breakup with a long-term partner.
Mm.
I'd been with him for 7.5 years,
Was it that long?
and
I didn't
and
realise it was that long. Yeah.
yeah, it was a very long relationship, and it just had me questioning a lot of stuff with my life. I was like, "I don't even know if I wanna do social media stuff anymore." I had a job interview. I was gonna go back to working in an office 9 to 5, obviously did not.
No.
But I had a job interview, they offered me the job, and then I was like, "What am I doing here? I really love being on the internet." But I kinda thought things were coming to a close in 2025 of my social media stuff because I was feeling really burnt out. And I think what I'm really just trying to do right now is try new things and, keep making sure that it's fun for me. I've worked hard to this year ask people for help, so I have somebody helping me do some,
Mm.
like, editing of shorts. I have a moderator team in general now that I didn't really have before. I pay one of my moderators to help me, collect clips and stuff so that I can, react to things as authentically as possible. So, I think in that sense, like, my goals are to just continue, building a team of people who are gonna support me, because 2026 has been, like, extremely successful for me on YouTube. Probably one of the best years financially, but also just, like, in terms of me genuinely enjoying what I'm doing. And so that's my goal. I'd love to just stay on the internet for as long as the internet will have me. And then outside of that, like, my real pie in the sky dreams is being on some kind of reality television, but
Oh, I could
that
just imagine you on something like that. That would be amazing.
yeah. I mean, honestly, truly, one of my greatest loves, if I could somehow become a UK resident, like, I've always loved the UK's version of Big Brother. I've historically watched a lot of it, like, when people would re-upload it to YouTube back in the day. But I would take the US Big Brother. I'd love to be on Survivor. I would really go on whatever would take me, but I've
Mm,
loved those shows for a really long time. But that's out of my control. I can control, like, to some extent, my success on YouTube.
mm. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, long may it continue as well. You certainly provided me with a hell of a lot of entertainment since I discovered it.
Yeah. Well, that's what's been nice about Twitch is that, you know, because I switch it up, I get a little bit of, like, all kinds of different people coming in and joining in. It's always really surprising to me when people find me from Twitch or, like, the re-upload content from Twitch, uh, and they don't even know, like, what it is that I do on the on my main YouTube
I
channel.
didn't. I
Yeah.
absolutely didn't. Somebody just said, "Oh, Zachary Michael's covering this," and I was like, "Who? He's on Twitch. What's
Which is
Twitch?"
which is an appropriate response. Who? Never heard of. I've never heard of
Come
them.
on, look, I'm nearly 60. I've come in. I didn't even know what Twitch was when and I went over to watch it. I thought, this is fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Brilliant. So thank you ever so much, Zach. Just mindful of your time. I guess we better draw things to a bit of a close here.
Sure.
For the benefit of our audience, I will be putting obviously your channel links and your Twitch and everything down in the video description when I upload this, so that everybody knows where to find you. If they haven't found you already, they're obviously been on the same planet that I must have been on for the last God knows how long.
Yeah.
So thank you ever so much. It's been so great talking with you, and thank you so much for all the entertainment that you're providing to me and so many others.
That's
Just
so nice of you to say.
So thanks again, and I will see you in your next live, I dare say, on Twitch. I'll be there.
Great. See you there.
See you then. Bye bye.
Bye.